This is WAW! What a week.
What a week. PoliTricks.
Hello to everybody out there. Welcome to another episode of Wow, What a Week. Of course, I'm not DJ Fresh. I'm better looking and smaller, and I have a beard. And I'm standing in for the big man himself. Joining me today on the episode of PoliTricks, as usual, Botsang Moiloa, to break down some of the most uncomfortable topics that have to do with politics around the country. And today we've got a bumper show packed. Botsang Moiloa, welcome, sir.
Brother man, thank you very much.
Or should you say welcome to me?
Welcome back. By popular demand, actually,
you,
I've seen our followers on social media saying, you, Botsang and Fresh, if one of you is sick and is not available, get EUGENE back on air. So you have won hearts of the subscribers of #PoliTricks.
Thank you so much. I love being part of the show. I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan of Tato's as well, and I love the show as well.
Thanks, brother man.
We've had some news, obviously starting off with the two-pot system. Everyone is talking about it. My grandmother is talking about it. My taxi driver is talking about it. My aunt is talking about it. My banker is talking about it. Please break it down to us. What is the two-pot system? Is it real or is it a scam?
That robbery, I call it robbery and a scam by officials and authorities to take money from people's pensions as much as possible. But on a very serious note, EUGENE, you see, first of all, we must understand the history of pensions in this country. The Americans and the apartheid regime, and including, Bantustans like Buputatswana, they had some of the best pension fund systems. You will know that people like in the military, when they go on retirement, they will enjoy those benefits and their families and medical covers until death and things like that. That whole system was destroyed because we moved into a capitalist society as a country. South Africa is a capitalist society, despite the fact that the ANC historically was aligned to the communist and the KHOZA, which was talking of socialism. But we went capitalism. Now we'll also recall that along the lines from 1994 to the recent years, and we saw it in the Zondo Commission, there's been looting of people's pensions and investments through the PIC, Public Investment Corporation. We know how the Marcus Jostes did, who have disappeared in this world, and people's monies have not been saved.
So when you say disappeared, you mean passed away?
Well, he disappeared because nobody saw the body. And that's what they say. They all disappear when they're supposed to face very serious, criminal financial crime crisis. But nonetheless, may the soul of Marcus Jooste rest in peace with the monies of the nation. When we look at the two-pot system, which I describe as actually the four-pot system, and I'll tell you that your money or your pension has been in a pot called the pension fund, governed by the Pension Fund Act. Some it's retirement annuity, some is provident fund, some is pension fund. Either way, this money has been in one big pot. And I want to use an example that I saw on TikTok, which made more sense to me. To say there's been a pot, let's say a 20-kilogram pot. Now they've divided that pot to say, you are no longer going to wait until your retirement to get your pension fund. People who are in need of money, and it's not that much regulated to say in need of money for what.
You don't need a valid reason.
You don't, well, valid for who? That's another question that I bring in politically. Valid for who? If I've been dreaming to go on holiday to Mauritius.
Or fix your Jeep.
Or fix my Jeep. Who will come and say that's not a need? Because what is what is keeping me sober and level-headed to go on holiday? Because people think holiday is play. To some people, holiday is therapy.
Yes.
It's very important. Now, one thing is they've taken this thing and they say they can access a certain percentage of your two-pot system, of your pension fund into the two-pot system. So in other words, they take this full 100%, 100,000, let's say you have 100,000 in your pension at the moment, and they say you can access up to 30,000 of it. The maximum amount you can access is 30,000.
So that's 30% of 100,000.
Of 100,000, yes. But it doesn't matter how much you have. You may have 300,000. The
you
maximum
can only access 30%.
You can only
30,000.
30,000. That's the maximum. But for me, that is not the trick. The trick there is One, as we already said, this is not regulated or controlled to say it is to pay for your house bond, you understand, to build rooms in your house or to do what. If you access that money, you can go on holiday in December. It is not for the intended purpose. The intended purpose of a pension fund is to aid you and assist you when you go in retirement. And I will come to why I'm also against that. But the trick is the government then goes and says, but we'll tax that money. Because remember, fairly speaking, when money went into pension savings, it was not taxed. According to the government, it was not taxed. And I will come and challenge it. I'll tell you why I'm saying it was taxed. It was not taxed, and therefore they will tax it now. According, and this is where it is unfortunate, it will be taxed according to your, if you were employed before, like I was employed 2 years back, and I was on the highest tax bracket of about 44% tax. So if I go and withdraw my pension now, that two-pot system, it will be taxed to the tax that I was taxed with when I was employed the last time. And I think it's unfair for government to do that. Why tax me with what I was taxed with when I'm unemployed at the moment, or when somebody maybe is in a lower job? That's the first part. But also, what is 30,000 minus tax, Eugene? If you are on a high tax bracket, 45% of it will go to SARS, which, according to the reports we have received this week, in the first 2 days of this two-pot system being opened, which was the 1st of September. The 1st of September happens to have been on a Sunday, so normally people started trading on Monday and Tuesday. So by closure of business on Tuesday this past week, SARS has collected almost 16 to 20 million of revenue from the few people who have done the process. Very few. You understand? Out of almost 10 million potential, not even pensioners in South Africa, not even 1 million, or contributors to pension, not even 1 million have processed that thing. And for me, that is unfortunate.
But then maybe it is that some might argue, Uguti, if you're in the high tax bracket, layer 45%, you probably wouldn't need to be dipping into the second pot for that 30,000 rand.
Well, people may argue that, but it depends. And this is where I bring politics into it. And I must put a disclaimer that what I'm going to say, does not represent you or the platform or the show. It's my view.
Sure.
If you have debts, let's say you have a house bond, and your house bond is 10,000 rand for over 20 years,
right? And
you are contributing 3,000 rand towards pension fund. If you just take 1,000 rand from what you are contributing to your pension fund towards your bond, it will reduce your house bond with at least 4 years. Just 1,000 rand extra. You'll save 4 years off your house bond. I've practically done it. I don't believe in pension fund. Why would you want to put money for retirement at age 65 while you are suffering now and servicing a debt and interest? The cost of interest that we are paying in South Africa for your credit card, for your vehicle, and for your house bond, it's very high. You understand? So what I'm saying is, why don't you avoid saving money for 65? I don't say don't save, but a portion of it, put it towards investment of infrastructure building. You understand? And you pay. I paid off my house bond in 9 years instead of 20 because I refused to belong to a pension fund scheme. Understand? I would have paid a house bond of 1 million. I would have paid approximately 2.4 million. But I finished it at record time. Then after finishing it, I sat down and I said, what can I start doing? I'm going to start having a retirement annuity that I'm going to determine. But I'm not paying debts. I'm not paying the car. I'm not paying the house. That is my thinking.
Which is way cheaper than what your bond
would
have cost.
It's way cheaper. And that's what I'm trying to say.
And much more beneficial.
Much more beneficial. Because if you go, Eugene, now and you own a 10-roomed house that's a mansion, when you are 65, you don't need that house, and that's where your investment is. You don't need a mansion when you're 65. How will you maintain it and clean it? You can downscale, sell that house, and that's where your investment is. So we are a nation that has been pushed to death.
But do you think we are a nation that has been pushed to death, or black financial education is not as pushed and popular as it should be?
Look, I agree with you on that part. It's not pushed, but you know what it is to keep us poor. is to keep you begging, is to keep you going to the bank and asking for money for a loan. I've heard people over the years crying that you can go to the bank now, you'll get a loan to buy a Golf R, what, for 800,000. But go and ask the bank for 800,000 to build a house or to start a business. They will not give you that money. And you ask yourself, why? And I don't think it is only financial education or financial management education. It has to do with the system that has to keep people as beggars perpetually. Understand? For me, that's, and I think our political office bearers, they do not care about the well-being of the people at the end. That's why they're putting people on social grants. And for a change, I want to agree with KHOZA.
For a change.
For a change. I hardly, you know why I disagree with them?
Right.
Because KHOZA has been part of the government. They've been part of the ANC. They've been part of the liberation movement. They were part of people who wrote the policies of the labor policies of this country, the compensation policies of this country. And they cannot come now, KHOZA and Sept and other people like Zwelinzi Mavavi and say the government is robbing people in doing this. Let me tell you how the government system works. Before any policy is passed, this goes through a parliamentary and public debate processes.
Right.
Where were the unions when this was still a draft document? Where were the people to comment on the two-pot system that we are trying to explain today? What is it? Where were the parliamentarians that we have deployed into parliament as our reps to can keep and guide us about this thing? And they passed that law, it became a law. There's a government body called NEDLAC, which is the business, labor, as well as politicians meeting to can draft economic policies and pass them. This whole two-pot system has passed through NEDLAC. And it was okay. And people start waking up only when it's time to withdraw money or to cross-check and check, is this worth it? And I'm saying to South Africans, if you have your pension fund and you do not need that money, it is not worth taking it.
Okay.
Another important element is that you can withdraw every government, financial year of government. So you can withdraw now in September, which you will probably get in October or November. Then a new government financial year commences on the 1st of April.
Then you can withdraw again.
Then you can withdraw again next year.
Sounds like
by the time you go on pension, you'll be broke.
that sounds like a scam to me.
It's a scam. That's why I call it a scam, my brother. It's a scam. Our people have been scammed. The biggest benefactor of this whole process is going to be SARS. SARS is going to benefit more than anybody else. People are going to lose. People are going to lose. Banks are also worried because they are losing on interest.
Customers.
And as I know, your pension is sitting there. Banks is lending it to borrowers like Botsang. So banks will lose on that when people withdraw. They will lose on interest. But SARS is going to benefit more. Let me tell you, this whole scam, in my view, the government is going to try and propel under the current GNU administration to say SARS has collected billions than ever before in the history of this country.
I take it you're not a big fan of the GNU, but that's a topic for another day.
No. I it's not about being a fan. There's no GNU. And I've talked about it before. There's no GNU. Informed or guided by what? How can we have a government of national unity when half of the political parties are outside? There's no GNU, but it's a topic for another day, as you say.
Yes. In Tshwane, AfriForum is coming to the aid of the DA.
Yes.
To prevent that motion of no confidence against Mayor Cilliers, who is a DA mayor, who is being challenged by the EFF and the ANC, obviously, to name a few.
Supported by Action SA.
Supported by Action SA. What are your views on that? Because I know it's a controversial topic, but I'm a big fan of the work that AfriForum does.
Oh,
continue.
That's good. That's good. Look, the work is not controversial, and I actually like you for that.
Thank you.
If you do a good work, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
And AfriForum is doing a good work for its constituency, its people.
Right.
The only problem with AfriForum is that whether they like it or not, whether they can agree or not, on paper it's clear, but AfriForum is a pro-white Afrikaner, and they see themselves as supremacists. Now, coming back to the city of Tshwane, where I am a resident, AfriForum, what does AfriForum has to do with politics? They are even going to court with this. First of all, there's a petition that they're asking for signatures.
And they'll get them?
They will definitely get them. You know, Tshwane, I live in the former Vervoetsberg, Centurion, it used to be known as Vervoetsberg. People don't know that Centurion used to be known as Vervoetsberg. And that's where you find the elite white supremacists. Now, and AfriForum headquarters are there, including Freedom Front Plus headquarters there, next to my house. So, I live and I see these things. Well, I enjoy the benefits of being there because they will take care of the environment and the streets. But why would AfriForum want to take a political office to court to stop politicians from exercising what the Constitution allows them to do? I wonder which sober or normal magistrate is going to listen to that nonsense of AfriForum. And I call it nonsense because it is not wrong when the DA goes to bed or into a coalition with other political parties and they form a government. There's nothing wrong with that according to AfriForum. When the EFF, the ANC, and Action SA says, no, but our marriage or relationship with the DA, it's not working. We therefore want to group together like they've done in Joburg. Why didn't AfriForum take Joburg to court when the DA was left out?
But you see, for me, the problem is far bigger. I always watch court proceedings, obviously, on YouTube. And I see how many intellectual black lawyers there are, advocates, people who are, senior counsels.
Yes.
And then also, whenever there's something happening in the inner city, there'll always be these NGOs, obviously also represented by lawyers.
Yes.
And on the other end, whenever something happens that affects the minority group that we are speaking about, AfriForum will come to the rescue.
Yeah.
Where is a civil organization that consists of legal experts that are black, that speaks to the issues of black people? Because if AfriForum represents the rights of their minority, and they've happened to just know the Constitution well, because it looks like they win every case or most of the cases that they go against.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, correct.
But where is an organization, where is a black AfriForum to represent black people, who are the majority in this country, that happen to face some of the biggest injustices even still today? We've seen now with that farm murder that happened, with the ladies being fed to pigs.
Where are the black lawyers?
Yeah, where is the AfriForum of black people to take? But I see them all the time there with their fancy English representing criminals sometimes in court.
Well, Eugene, you have nailed it and your observation is correct. We do not have a civil society movement that is representing the interest of black people. And the reason that happened, and there are people who have been trying to resuscitate the civic organizations in communities.
All right.
We have seen Operation Dudula coming up. That was not a political party.
It wasn't,
but the problem is the civic organizations in South Africa. If you grew up in the township like me, you will know that they got swallowed by political parties.
Yes,
they started aligning themselves into. Then they get compensated with what? With political positions. Then they neglect what they were put there for. That's why you find councillors of Alexander, they live in Sandton, not in Alexander. You understand? That's one element. But the second element is, we should not undermine the intended system of keeping black people suffering. And AfriForum and other people will stand up and say, why are we making this racial? It is racial. They will stand up and say, why are we talking black and white when they are claiming to be representing the people of Tshwane? The majority of the people of Tshwane, I can tell you, 80% of the residents of Tshwane are black people, because it is the biggest metropolitan in Africa. It covers from, just from, Bronkhorstspruit right up to the south of Tshwane and Elmapias and all those areas.
The edge of Mpumalanga.
Yeah. It's actually from the border of Limpopo
and the edge of Northwest.
Exactly, my brother. So it's actually officially and on record, the city of Tshwane is the biggest metropolitan in Africa by size. You understand? Now, if AfriForum says they are representing the residents of Tshwane, they must be able to put on paper and demonstrate why do they think that the Democratic Alliance, when it is in a coalition government with Action SA and other small parties, it has done best for the residents of Tshwane in totality.
But as a resident of Tshwane yourself, you think they haven't done good?
Look, I would not say they've done bad, but I've always said politicians are politicians, no matter what color or logo are they wearing. Tshwane is in a complete mess at the moment. There's no difference. Somebody may say where I stay because it's a predominantly white area. Things I was telling Utato the other day that our biggest stress on my block is when one street bulb is off. The biggest stress of the person in Olivenhout Bosch, the south of Tshwane, it's security, it's safety.
It's safety.
You understand? You look at the murders in Soshanguve, they've become fashionable, assassinations and killing of people. So how do you measure good service delivery in a metro that has the police force and all? How do you measure it? That the bulbs are working, that garbage is collected on my street without failure every week. So you cannot use that as a barometer to say they've successful, but also politically, where on earth or in the constitution of this country are we saying that AfriForum can stop political parties from conniving or forming a coalition or colluding to can table the motion of no confidence? And they've been doing it with Action SA. You see, Action SA has become the prostitute of Gauteng politics, because they're jumping from one bed to another.
Not the prostitute.
Well, prostitution is an English word, so we have political prostitutes.
But during these elections or during the running, when all parties were campaigning, Mashaba seemed to have held a moral high ground that he will never work with the ANC. But we've seen now he's made an about turn in Joburg.
Who in all the opposition parties before the ANC lost power,
Yes.
which political party said they will work with the ANC? None. All of them. That's why you had the far left there that formed a coalition, or they call them forces of the left or the progressive forces. Then you've got the center right that they were having a moon-packed shot. So all of them, including the DA today, that sees the ANC as the devil, corrupt, incompetent organization. They are in bed with the ANC. So when Mashaba and Action SA conduct themselves in a manner that all other political parties have conducted themselves. The DA, let's go back to it. The DA itself, when they were in power in Joburg, who brought them into power? It was the EFF, if you recall. The EFF, after the 2016 local elections, they donated their votes in the city of Joburg to the Democratic Alliance. That's why the Democratic Alliance had power. Chairman Mashaba himself was put into that position in Joburg under the DA by the EFF. Now, the Democratic Alliance comes today, and they want to tell us in the city of Tshwane that the EFF are evil. They are right-wingers or left-wingers. They hate white people. They are not good for the country. But it's hey, Baba, are we forgetting that even in Tshwane, before this term, before Brink, even in Tshwane, it was the economic freedom fighters that put the DA there. They did it in the Western Cape, in PE. They've done it in Ekurhuleni. Now these people have separated and divorced. They found a new lover or partner in Action SA. Action SA is lamenting exactly what the EFF was lamenting about, to say the DA is an abusive partner. They are all using the same word to say the DA is they are supremacists, and they lead with supremacy. Is there a way or no way? And what other powers do you have over the DA? The only power you have is to go into council and vote them out. Now, is the AfriForum saying Action SA cannot swap partners or change partners and vote with other political parties that are elected democratically into that council? The EFF is there democratically. The ANC is there democratically. They've done it in Joburg. They've done it in Gauteng. The DA is not in power in Gauteng at all. They're only left
with that
seat of Tshwane, and that's where the battle is. And I said to Tato last week, I'm going to pay serious attention on this Tshwane thing, not because I'm a resident of the good, beautiful Tshwane, Jacaranda City, but I want to see what would happen, because I've heard from my reliable sources that the DA has dared the ANC nationally to say, we dare lose Tshwane, we'll collapse the GNU. Because that's all they have. Understand? And that's where the challenge is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why AfriForum is up in arms. And you know what I said? I think it's last week or 2 weeks ago. I said AfriForum has become the legal right hand of the Democratic Alliance, while OUTA has become the civil tax, payers movement. So these two elite, predominantly white formations. And there's nothing wrong in people organizing themselves. There's nothing wrong in Afrikaners forming AfriForum and pushing their cultural, commercial values. And there's nothing wrong. But once they start thinking they are superior, and their logic and thinking is superior to some of us who are residents of these municipalities, that's where the problem is.
You're starting to make me think as if there's a shadow government happening here.
There's a what?
Shadow government.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the problem. But you will see, they may win the case in court, but will they stop other political parties? You can't tell a political party in a council that you can't put a motion of no confidence in a certain mayor or a certain political party. That's absurd. That's unheard of.
Another story that has piqued my interest in the financial sector is the fact that South African banks have opted to ditch the EFT system for the SWIFT system for transfers in Africa, right?
Yeah,
Tell us
no.
more.
In a particular, in Africa, but specifically
yeah.
in what we call the RMA, the Rand Monetary Area, the immediate neighboring countries during the old apartheid years.
Right.
And this is where I reveal my age now. This used to be called the BLS countries, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland.
Okay.
Because at that time, historically, South Africa and Southwest Africa, Namibia today used to be one country. Okay. So you had the BLS countries where the rand was the trading currency and dominant, measure to can exchange commodities. Now, what happened is with Namibia becoming independent and Botswana, starting to trade with their own currency, Pula, internationally.
Right.
So Botswana moved out of the BLS countries, it collapsed. Then what we remained with was the Kingdom of Lesotho and the Kingdom of Eswatini. Because they're still using the rand. If you travel to Lesotho and to Eswatini, it's 1:1. So what they have done, they've paid the rand or their local currency, which is Elangeni in
Swaziland,
in Eswatini, and Maluti in Lesotho, and the Namibian dollar in Namibia. They are all equal to the rand. You can actually purchase in the store with a South African rand, except Botswana.
Yes.
So that is called the Rand Monetary Area, where we can trade with the rand. Now, what has been happening is, which I also think it's unjust and it's unfair, because we are talking about nations coming together.
Right.
Okay. These countries that I'm talking about, they are members of SACU, Southern African Customs Union. So we've got a common currency. We've got, which is the rand. We've got a common custom union. Like when you take goods from South Africa to Eswatini or Kingdom of Lesotho, Namibia, they are not exempted from normal, cross-border customs fees. Now, there's been an arrangement that, and remember, South African banks are also dominated in these neighboring countries. You find Standard Bank in Eswatini, Lesotho, in Namibia, you find First National Bank, and all these South African 5 major banks, okay? Now, what has been happening is if you transfer money to somebody in Lesotho, like I've got family in Lesotho, I will just do a normal EFT. Gone. And pay normal bank charges of doing an EFT, and it will appear in few minutes or hours or in a day. Now, because of, according to the banks and the government, because of illicit trade, because of money laundering and all that, they are stopping that. So
counterterrorism efforts.
Counterterrorism effort, because they say sometimes this money, when they reach neighboring countries, we do not know what happens to that money, because South Africa does not have control over those monies.
Yes.
You understand? And therefore, it may be funding terrorism, it may be funding drug trafficking, it may be money laundering. Botsang has stolen 50 million in South Africa. He moves it to Lesotho gradually over a period of time.
Bribes the Minister of Finance there and lives a good life.
Exactly, you understand? And probably I have buying properties there. So the government, as well as the financial institutions, they are trying to curb that problem or challenge. But then what I like, and we must give them credit for that, they have also put a certain percentage of figure that you can still transfer without cross-border fees.
Yes.
So at a moment, when you transfer money to your family or your helper or your worker's salary, some they prefer to receive it at home because they have come to Gauteng or to South Africa to work.
Yes.
Now you're going to transfer it as a cross-border payment. Like you're going to use SWIFT. It's going to be like an international transaction.
Right.
And that will obviously cost the consumer more of what you call it bank charges. It will cause even more delays. So it's much more stringent measure that is actually going to hit at the pocket.
Look, I'd go for that option if I know that we are not being part of terrorism, human trafficking, and illicit trade.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, Tina, here we're subjected to our financial records and our tax.
FICA and all that.
Yeah, we are fine here. But
Yes.
then if you have Lesotho migrants, for example, who are working as Zamazamas here, their kingpins get to take that money out
Yes.
without even being scrutinized.
Without being scrutinized,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think it's a good thing.
It will assist on international drug people, human and money laundering, trafficking, and all those things. But even illicit goods. Let me make an example of the illicit goods. If you have a country that is dumping their goods in a neighboring country, let's say in Lesotho, as an example, I'm just using an and another country is dumping their garbage there. Those goods will be bought with monies that have left South Africa and find their way into South Africa because of the SACU, memorandum of understanding, because of all this transfer of monies and all that. And I think in the spirit of good governance and law enforcement and controlling, it is a good thing that we're implementing this. But if I talk as a socialist, as an ordinary human being who have family in Lesotho, and I sit here and I say it's going to hit at those people's pockets more. Now people are going to do what? Who work in South Africa? It's actually going to increase the risk of people carrying cash. Because what they will do is, if you've got a gardener who's from Lesotho, I'm making an example, or in the domestic work, they will draw their cash now and carry it home as cash. And that is the risk we are going to be facing.
That is exposing to them.
Yes, we are going to see more robberies. Remember, criminals also, they read changes in the law.
Yeah.
They will come with countermeasures of how they will do things.
To find a loophole.
They will also start knowing that a cross-border taxi or bus leaving Joburg or Tshwane or Bloemfontein to Lesotho is carrying passengers who are carrying cash. We are going to see more robberies of cross-border transport, passenger transport, even people transporting goods. You understand? They are going to carry more cash now.
So there'll be cash in transit heights at the
bus. Human beings and buses. Well, the ones for buses has been happening actually, and I must put a disclaimer that I'm not talking about my.
But by the Metropolis?
No. The cash by the buses that are leaving Joburg to Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but the Metropolis always stop them. The Ntshwane.
Yes.
There's that off ramp there by.
Yes.
Yeah, but they always stop them, but they always let them go. So what is that? What's Alanda?
I am conflicted because of my work, so I cannot comment on that.
Okay, I'll let you slide on that. We were speaking about the DA earlier. Now, the DA chose not to attend the presidential imbizo, but they attended the signing ceremony of the police in the Western Cape.
Yes.
But also, Steenhuisen did not find anything wrong by being in a private jet and going to China.
Hey. No, man, why do you say it's a private jet? Didn't the president take them in the presidential jet? Or maybe they flew.
It is a private jet.
Well, it's not. It's our jet. Pella.
Okay.
It's a public asset. And I hope President Ramaphosa took them with all those ministers. But we spoke with Tato last week or 2 weeks ago how the DA has been rude and they showed the president a middle finger by not attending the presidential imbizo. And I said I'm going to observe there. Few days, not even a week, EUGENE. Few days after the presidential imbizo in Gauteng, which is a service delivery kind of imbizo to inform the president. Few days after, it was few days, not even a week. There was this another event in the Western Cape or the city of Cape Town where the president was going to sign an agreement. That's another thing, the president of the Republic of South Africa goes and signs an agreement with the police in Cape Town with the Minister of Police. What agreement? We're in the same country, we have national police.
Yeah.
All DA ministers and officials and they were there. And what does it say to us as South Africans? It is pushing this thing of Xing the Western Cape out of the country. We can see it happening in front of our eyes, and we are not talking about it. The DA is conducting itself as if we have a federal government. We don't have a federal government in South Africa. You understand? That's a province of the Republic of South Africa. They cannot conduct themselves in a manner that makes a city of Cape Town or the Western Cape as if it's not part of the Republic.
But if the president is validating their thoughts,
and
then
that's where I have a problem with President Ramaphosa. I said last week, they showed him a middle finger by not coming to their work. He goes and he calls Minister Simelane into a team meeting to come and explain herself. But he's not calling the DA ministers who shunned his project off. But when they go to Cape Town, because the DA thinks they are running the Western Cape and Cape Town for life, the president, it's okay. He's allowing them, he sees them in a meeting. For me, that is disrespect. It's a relegation of duties. But even worse, again, few days after the incident in the Western Cape or in Cape Town, the president has an important meeting to go to the China-Africa summit. Ne? And now, Steenhuisen is there with his suit, smiling, wearing his blue tie all over China, and they see it normal. So when is it that the government, and I don't want to talk about President Ramaphosa.
Blue tie.
Yeah, no, but they do that, politicians. You know, the ANC ones wear the green, gold, and it's only the controversies leaders who wear the red ones. But these days I see they're moving to their green. I observe such things.
Even a green suit the other day in court.
But the GA ministers are part of those ministries that went to the Africa-China summit. They're sitting in China with the president doing government work, good for us. But when do they do government work and when do they not do government work? If the ruling or the leading, they're not ruling, the leading ANC, President Ramaphosa, and other members of the so-called GNU, the PAC, the Patriotic Alliance, if they are going to keep quiet and put a blind eye on the conduct of one of their partners, then we are having a problem. Then it says to somebody like me who is saying this GNU, it's a false thing, it's a farce. You understand? It's saying they're scared of the DA. The DA does what they want inside the GNU. Why is that allowed? I said I want to see when President Ramaphosa has imbizos in Guguletu, in Khayelitsha, in Langa, if the DA will go there.
So here's a topic I'm interested in. Sorry to cut you off there, Botsang. This year was on record the highest number of national elections around the world.
Yes.
And obviously the most anticipated one for me after the South African elections is the American elections.
Yes.
We all know what happened to Biden.
Yeah.
He just literally just threw the football to Kamala.
He slept.
Without the Democrats having to vote for a candidate that they would want to stand in the elections against Donald Trump. What are your thoughts on how the American elections are going to pan out? What are your predictions? Because I think we're going to be here before November to speak about it more.
Yeah.
But so far from what you're looking at after they had their GNC, what do you think is going to happen?
Look, we already know that the Democrats have now endorsed Kamala. I think it was good for them for Biden to shift. He was not, in a good physical space to can do that. And Trump was just going.
No.
him.
Good physical space is a hangover.
Well,
he was not good at all.
Well, so I think for the Democrats, now they've got a candidate that is standing neck on neck with Donald Trump.
Is she though?
I think politically, you see, the Americans are like South Africans. They get excited over something. Look, Trump was riding over Biden. And he's not having it easy. That easy ride. It's not easy. It's an easy ride over Kamala Harris. Understand? And also, what they also have is that, Americans, they like eloquent people, like South Africans. If you speak English well and you can address rallies very well, people will think you are educated or you are smart. But they go with that rhetoric. And it's the first time a woman standing up very seriously and really, really very close to, we know that, what is the ex-president's wife?
Jill Biden. Is it Jill?
No.
This is Joe and Jill.
The one, Monica Lewinsky's boyfriend. President, whoever. Clinton. Their wife is a politician. Okay? Now, but that's the only thing I could read. That's the legacy. I mean, why do you
Whatever happened to Monica Lewinsky?
Oh, she's aged now and all that.
Are there even recent pictures of Monica Lewinsky?
I've seen sometimes last year. She's an old woman. Remember, she's now almost, 60?
But here's my issue with where the Democrats, and with obviously your argument of saying that Donald Trump won't have a walk in the park when it comes to standing against Kamala.
Yes.
Is the fact that on a policy basis, she was deputy president or vice president of the country.
Yeah.
So how will she defend anything that Donald Trump says against the Democratic government?
It is going to be very difficult. But one of the things we must remember, there's two political parties in the US.
Yes.
Their policy positions, they don't differ much. It's very thin line. It's very little. What Americans vote for is the personalities. It's how they conduct themselves. They will have, I can tell you 90% of the policies of the Democrats and the Republicans are the same. So there's not much on politics. It's what you do when you are, during that period when you are in power. Trump has an upper hand because he's got the money. And he's one president of the US who never started a war during his reign.
Tenure.
He actually stopped and withdrew soldiers from Afghanistan. You understand? He has gone to an extent of saying, and this for me was very critical, of saying, these people have been murdering people all over the world, starting wars. I never did that as Trump. And I've led the Republicans not to do that. And the skirmishes and the fight and the tension between Russia as well as the US, it is not a healthy. There, Trump has an upper hand. And you must remember, one of the charges of Donald Trump for treason is his relationship
With Russia.
And all those compromise. So that is got an upper hand. If Americans want peace now, they don't want to fund or to supply arms to Israel and other organizations in trouble. Trump is their best bet if they want peace. But also, the Republicans, the Democrats are sitting and saying, we've got a black woman, is a woman, and women are seen to be less aggressive naturally than men. And therefore, let's have a woman for the first time. They're using that card of saying, is a woman and she's black.
But do you see Kamala Harris sitting at the Kremlin and having a conversation with Putin?
You are actually putting me. I've been trying to avoid to say what is going to happen. Look, if I put my head on the block, and not because I like Trump, I think if I look at the numbers and the stats and reality, I don't think Kamala Harris will go through. I think Trump will win. I think the Republicans will come victorious in the U.S. elections. We still have a long time to go. We know that in the U.S. as well, the debates and the engagements, they run up to the last few weeks. And things change as they run. But we have seen also a number. There's another thing that has happened. We have seen a number of the so-called Zionists and funders and conglomerates of the world putting more money on the Democrats, on Kamala Harris than on Trump. We have seen that, and we know how money buys and influences politics in the world.
Yes.
Today, what is this month? We're in September.
Yes.
If we go to elections today in the US, I think Trump will come out victorious. Yeah, but I still think towards the build-up, Trump will come back into power.
There's a lot happening in politics. Thank you so much, Botsang,
No, thanks,
for
my
breaking
brother.
it down and showing us all these tricks behind the politics.
I thank you, and good to be with you. Hope
Good to
see
be
you
with
soon.
you too. Thank you to all the viewers that join us every week on this PoliTricks on Wow What a Week. There's always more news to share, but we have to wrap it up here, unfortunately. It is with a heavy heart that I'm stepping in for DJ Fresh today, sending love, prayers, and strength to him and his family during this challenging time. Thanks to M Studios for their space. We are part of the Africa Podcast Network. Pezulu Works Cinematography is here to make sure that we look good. Audio engineer Otis The Flow Fraser, your work kicks butt. And obviously, my co-host and the resident political analyst of this show, Botsang Moiloa. Executive producer, Keletso Mudisakeng. Goodbye until next time.